This is Gary Atensi with CNTV, and today we're in Denver, Colorado. I'm here at Sheer Velocity. Since 2012, this executive search firm has provided custom-tailored selections of top performers for every position that you need filled. I'm here with Debra Young, who is the co-founder, managing partner. Debra, thanks so much for joining us here today. Let's start off a little bit about yourself. You really bring over 2 decades of recruiting experience. You yourself have been part of the corporate world in many aspects, executive VP, as well as HR. You've also been a member of a team of leadership. Share with me a little bit how this got started for you, why you decided to venture out on your own and get involved in this industry.
Sure, I was doing recruiting for Office Snacks 20 years ago in their corporate office, and I put my resume out on, at that time, I think it was Career Builders, and a gentleman found me who wanted to start a boutique executive search firm. And he had a home in Breckenridge, and so I thought Denver would be the best likely place for him to start his company. And so we met. I asked him what is it that I need to do, and he told me I needed to go out and get companies to hire us to place C-level executives in their organizations that are going to be, people that are going to, drive the organization, profitability,
Sure.
growth, and whatnot. And so I said, I can do that. And that was 20 years ago. And ever since then, I've been meeting executives all over the country, in fact, all over the world, through our global affiliations, and worked and started the Denver office for him. Worked there, became a partner, and 4.5 years later got recruited to a top global firm. So I worked for three plus years there and learned how large organizations, large search firms do business, and I had boutique experience from the previous experience. Was there for about 3.5 years and met my business partner there, and we decided to leave and start our own firm because we had a different take, so to speak, on how to better connect bridge the gap between the candidate and the client. So we started out in 2012, Sheer Velocity. Our name is based on transparency and speed, deliverability. We create exceptional partnerships that endure. And so we've grown to a national firm over the last 9 years now. We have offices in Chicago, St. Louis, Denver, and Seattle. And then we have reach in 35 countries around the world through our global affiliation that we're the sole U.S. partner for, INOC Global Executive Search, who we've been with for 7 years. They're the very first consortium of boutique executive search firms around the world to come under one umbrella, each keeping their own businesses.
Sure.
And we refer and exchange business around the world with our colleagues. I'm proud to say that for the second year in a row, Hans Scanlon has voted us as a top 40 global executive search firm.
Wow, what a story of growth. That is fantastic. I mean, really every hiring decision out there, regardless if it's good or bad, affects the profitability of a company. Why do you think an organization like yours is more needed today than it even was 20 years ago when you began this?
Well, I can tell you 20 years ago, my mentor that got me into this business taught me about cultural fit and leadership personality fit actually trumping technical skill set. And 20 years ago, no one wanted to hear about the soft side, the people side of things, the soft skills. And so you fast forward to today, and everybody's talking about culture fit, culture add, leadership personality fit, emotional intelligence. We created a search process, like I said, that bridges the gap between the candidate and the client. And we look at candidates from a 360-degree view, and I like to refer to it as the face behind the resume, Gary, because if you just look at technical skill set and resumes, you're not getting the full read on someone and how you'll be able to predict their performance. So we have developed some proprietary tools and some assessments that we use in our search process in order to vet candidates from that 360-degree view.
I mean, after all, a company can only be as good as its people. The fact that some of these hiring mistakes, they can be very costly. I mean, they can not only cost the company money today, but many times even the integrity and reputation of the company in the future. Is this something that really you're helping these companies overcome so that they're not taking this financial blow when they're hiring in the wrong way?
Sure. There was an article in Forbes by a CEO in Silicon Valley. You know, they're all fast-growing startups that are in technology. And he said that the cost of a wrong hire at the executive level right now is 2.5 times the salary of that executive, and that does not also include organizational costs, opportunity costs, and productivity costs. So our process is really designed to help ensure that an executive is going to last. Of course, we're dealing with people, and you got to remember, at the end of the day, people do what they want to do. And you can't control them. They're not widgets, but we can do our best in order to provide a search process that will help make better fits that are going to endure and last and drive, you know, the organization's profitability growth, grow culture, healthy culture, and engagement in their employees.
It's interesting. I mean, these companies, they invest in so many things, technology and buildings and whatnot, but yet the people hired have to be their biggest investment. I mean, this really is human capital investment. Your job is to make sure that it pays off for them.
Right. So we have created a way to get at better technical fits besides resumes and interviewing. We create 4 behavioral interviewing questions that are the top 4 must-haves from the technical skill set that our clients are looking for, and we create these behavioral interview questions around each one of those skill sets. And what that helps us do, we have the candidates completed in writing, so we get to see if they really truly have, you know, that experience that we're looking for, because sometimes it doesn't come through on a resume when you're saying, tell me a time and a place when you did X, Y, Z. And so we also get to see how a candidate, or an executive, I should say, communicates in writing, because that's so critical skill set that sometimes gets overlooked outside, because resumes sometimes are done by professional resume writers. So you know, really need to understand how they're going to communicate and to send communications throughout their organization.
I mean, if the wrong person is put in the wrong position, it's not only a financial blow for the company, like you said. I mean, 2.5 of the salary, but there's the energy cost, the time that is lost, even morale of the company itself. When we're talking about trying to build a team, when the team gets fragmented, are these all things that you have seen in the past? And basically, the goal here is sustainable, making sure that you're putting people in place that will stay there. Sure,
and that's really our, you know, a lot of firms are niche firms in certain industries or markets or roles. We're a generalist firm, and so we're industry agnostic. We do lots of different kinds of work, but it's really about a process that is going to show you the executive's performance and predict behavior and performance through a couple other tools that we have in our tool belt. We have our own cultural alignment that is proprietary to our firm, and that gets at the top areas or functions of an executive in a culture and how they view their roles. Is it, you know, teamwork, innovation, empathy, competitiveness, financial execution, decision making, management style, and we have created questions around all of those topics that we have the candidate and the client complete, so you can see in the deliverable degrees of separation in their responses. And degrees of separation are really just differences of opinion, attitude, and perception or beliefs. And so those questions get at the important functions of each of those roles or topics. And so we generate conversation in the interview process to help uncover strengths and potential blocks at a deeper level than just looking at a resume. So that tool actually gives our clients a leg up, as it provides them some valuable information about this individual that they can use as they see fit in the interview process. You got to keep in mind, though, it is a subjective test and it is not objective, so it can't be measured by percentages or numbers, but it's really designed to get to know this person and understand their leadership skills and ask questions about how they lead. You know, do they instill competition amongst their direct reports? Are they highly competitive? Those sorts of things.
When companies out there do not have access to this vast database or vast selections of top quality performers, do you feel sometimes they rush the placement, and which is absolutely the opposite of what you're doing?
Right. I think you really need to do your due diligence, and that's what we do. We also look at a leadership personality fit through the Hogan assessment, and Hogan's been around for about 30 years, and it was the very first predictor of job performance. And so, and it's the only leadership personality assessment on the market that's designed for the selection of leadership talent. And it gets at the bright side, the dark side. We all have our derailers, our dark side. How do we behave when we're under stress? What job or work environment are you intrinsically motivated by? Do you have interpersonal sensitivity skills, prudence, ambition, adjustment scores? And all that plays into that whole 360-degree view of a candidate, and just more information to help you make a better hiring decision at the end of the day. Dot your I's, cross your T's. Don't rush the process, because everybody says, you know, how soon do you want this person in place? And they say yesterday. And it will eventually catch up with them. It'll cost them more money in the end.
For sure. I mean, so obviously you're taking the time, crossing the T's, dotting the I's, taking your time through the process, but yet at the same time, you're a boutique firm that understands the process has to be speedy. Obviously, they want you to turn this around quick enough. You're able to do that with technology. Tell me a little bit about the database or databases you're able to tap into through your partners as well.
Sure. We've been growing our database now for 9 years. We have a huge network. We use a lot of different resources to find candidates.
Sure.
We go to a lot of organizations that are affiliated with our clients' businesses, trade shows. LinkedIn is huge. What we have found with LinkedIn, because everybody's using LinkedIn these days, we use that more as a tool really for more getting to know people and getting references or referrals. Oh. So it goes much deeper, but we have a very vast network of C-level executives in a lot of different areas over the last 9 years of having grown our relationships and our network.
You pride yourself on the fact that you're really a personal boutique. Do you feel you can match the bandwidth of some of the bigger competitors out there because of technology?
Are you referring to bandwidth as to how many positions we can fill at a time? Is that what? Okay.
Yes.
So one thing that we do is, first of all, if we are approached by a company and they say, we have this search, we'd like to talk with you about it, we will determine if we're going to be set up for success. Okay. We're happy to take on the business. But we're also not afraid to say, you know what, maybe we aren't the firm for you.
Sure.
So there aren't a lot of firms that will do that. They will take any business they can get just to get the fees and the placements. So we are diligent about how we evaluate search work that comes in, and we never overextend ourselves, because first of all, we have a 93% success placement rate. We have a 92% client satisfaction, and we have a 90% of repeat clients.
Wow.
So if you do a really good job for a client, it's easier to win more business when you have the clients than to go out and win new clients. So we like to really take care of the clients that we do have as well.
That's interesting. So you're not only making sure you're sending them the right fit, but you're making sure you're the right fit for that company as well. I mean, you begin here in Denver, Colorado. You have now expanded into 7 cities. Does remaining a personal boutique and remaining transparent with the client, is that still important to you as you continue to grow?
Absolutely. Yes, like I said, our name is sheer velocity for transparency, speed, and deliverability. So yes, it is.
That's amazing. You're describing the percentages of satisfaction. We're talking about satisfaction of the client, making sure the retention is there. do you pride yourself on the fact that these people remain your clients? That basically they not only retain you initially, but basically you've kept them for years and years, and you become part of their team.
You actually become more of a trusted advisor than a vendor. We are not transactional. We prefer to become better resources for our clients. If they're looking for other organizations to help grow their company, if we have in our tool belt or in our network, so to speak, I guess, accountants or investment bankers that we can refer, being that valued and trusted advisor that you really care about their business and the success of their business all around as a whole, I think you become a better search partner.
That is interesting. So for you, this is more than just finding the person who can do the job. This really is finding the person who can fit in that company. You touched on earlier culturally, making sure they're a good fit for your company culturally, even for the area that maybe you're working in. You guys believed in culture before it was cool, really. I mean, it was something you were doing years ago, and yet some people are still using these antiquated systems that are basically just a database and throwing out some numbers. Is that important for you to continue taking the time and making sure that, because it's a good alignment culturally, that they're going to stay with the company?
Yeah, we take that very seriously, Gary, about making sure that these people are going to last. We offer typically a 1-year replacement guarantee. So whether the candidate or the newly placed executive, I should say, leaves for any reason or is let go, we will refill that position at no cost to the client, because we truly believe that if you follow a really good search process, and it's been a proven good process, the end result can't help but be good if you follow a good process. And there are clients out there that don't want to take the time to do that.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, sometimes they have to pay a heavy price for that.
I mean, you have state-of-the-art search. You're digging deeper than any other company could do for themselves out there, but it doesn't stop there. Once you have found someone, what about onboarding? Is that something that you're able to help with them as well?
Absolutely. Onboarding is huge, and whether you do it internally or externally, I really think that is really going to set an executive up for success. So we have a book out by our colleague Michael Burrows out of our St. Louis office. He wrote it, and it is called Before Onboarding. And what that process does, it starts the onboarding process before someone even walks in the door on day one. So we typically come in from the time the offer letter is signed to the start date, and we interview this newly hired executive's boss, peers, and direct reports. And we create this blueprint for success for this incoming executive. They're debriefed before they even walk in the door on day one. They know the inner circle. Trying to break into the inner circle of a peer group can be a little bit of a challenge in an organization, as far as maybe someone is upset that was their best friend that got let go, or maybe they wanted that job. So you have to be able to understand those dynamics, how to communicate with your boss. I had a CEO who said, if I get an email that has more than 3 bullet points, I delete it. That's good information to know in communicating with your boss. Sure. Direct reports, all the concerns of your direct reports. Everybody's concerned about having a new boss. So on day one, we facilitate a town hall with the direct reports and the new leader. And the new leader addresses every one of their concerns about having this individual as their new boss. And what that does is that starts to build trust. Sure. And transparency between a new boss and their direct reports. And then we follow up at 30, 60, 90 days to make sure they're meeting the marks that were set out for them by their new boss. But I think in COVID times and coming out of COVID times, I think it's really important that you have a process that starts before and can be done without having to have that individual in an office. You also want to facilitate, meetings with everybody on the team. And, if you can go out to lunches, that's good, as things are starting to open up. But I think, having a really good onboarding process that can help brings an executive on in these times that we are dealing with right now, I think is really critical to the success of an executive. takes them a year to really become onboarded into an organization.
So sheer velocity is definitely process driven. I mean, from beginning to end, really a turnkey solution that you're providing for the companies that you work with out there. Not only here in Denver, not only across the United States, but really you've worked in 30 different countries. We're talking about 7 cities. You continue to grow. Is this an exciting time for you that we see these companies getting back in the game and obviously looking for the best talent out there?
It is very exciting, Gary, because I think there's been a lot of pent-up search work that companies were just reluctant to have to spend money on.
Yeah.
Until, we really saw an uptick in business after the first of the year, after the vaccination, after the election, Q1 of 2021. And we work a lot with private equity, and there was a lot of money that needed to be invested, and now it's being invested. And so lots of, search work is coming out of that because when you work with private equity, sometimes they switch up management teams within their portfolio companies as they acquire them. And so, it's very exciting. We've seen
Very
huge
exciting.
growth.
Yeah, great time to be doing that.
It is.
High tech, yet at the same time you're high touch. Does it continue to be rewarding for you providing this service? You've been doing it for many years, something you take very serious, realizing these clients retain you and they basically trust you to be part of their team.
This is what I really like. I enjoy hearing people's stories. So from the candidate perspective, everybody has a story. And if you can bring a better opportunity to someone in their family, maybe better compensation, maybe a location that has better school districts, maybe closer to family, while you're also providing a great executive leader into an organization that, like I said before, is going to drive profitability, growth, mission, culture, engagement, all of those things. Emotional intelligence is one thing that we do really look for in candidates. You have to have that self-awareness and that self-regulation and social skills and empathy and motivation, particularly in these times of working remote. So bringing great opportunities to people and their families, I think, is really exciting, and being part of their story and being part of your client's story of growth is really what excites me.
Well, it's been a pleasure explaining your story to the folks
Thank
out
you.
there. Viewers, let's take a look at the bottom of the screen right there. What you're going to see is their website. First of all, on the website, you can learn more about this organization. You can also find out some of the industries that they've worked with. We're talking about venture capital, healthcare, nonprofits, many specialties they've been able to work with. They have quite a database out there. Remember, as we move into the new year and we're expanding out there, say goodbye to really antiquated processes that companies have been doing for years and say hello to more of a 360 view when you're looking at a potential prospect out there that's going to help you build your business. Once again, that is sheer velocity. We build exceptional teams. This is Gary Atencio with CNTV. And if you don't know, now you know.